What if an entire town disappeared in a single night, leaving behind empty streets, unfinished meals, and one man who swears the world outside no longer exists? This is the story of McDougal and the last rites that were never meant to be read. My name is Damien, and I have been surviving in the town of McDougal ever since it vanished on the evening of April 28, 2018. To the rest of the world, McDougal disappeared. For us, it was the rest of the world that went silent. Entire cities stood like tombstones of a vanished people. Neon buzzed, escalators moved, no footsteps followed. I wasn't alone. Sam stayed with me, and we learned to count days by the weight of silence. At first we searched. We drove until the fuel ran out and the maps turned meaningless. Silence became a pressure, a hand on the mouth of the world. Then the nights changed. The dark felt heavier, as if it had learned our names. We heard them first, as drafts, then as words in an alphabet made of teeth. Claw marks appeared on our cabin walls, too deep for wood to forgive. Under the altar at St. Bartholomew's S, we found a journal bound in cracked leather that smelled like rain on ash. The first page burned a single title into my eyes, Last Rites. It was not a history, it was an instruction. It warned McDougal was a lock, not a town, and someone had started turning the key. At dawn, Sam was gone. The door gaped. Footprints led into trees and stopped like a sentence without a period. I searched until my throat shredded. The echoes laughed in our voices. When I returned, the journal lay open. New writing bled across the page. He belongs to us now. I felt the book watching, not with eyes, with a hunger for sound. I went back to the church. The bell rang on its own, each toll tasting like iron. Another journal lay on the altar, witness. Names filled it, hundreds crossed out in savage strokes. The last was Sam. The doors slammed. Shadows bled from the walls and stood, mouthless and listening. They spoke in a single layered voice. You cannot leave, Damien. The rites are not complete. I ran. The aisle stretched like a lie. The exit stayed the same 12 steps away. A crucifix fell, shattered, and writhed like snakes before turning to smoke. I burst outside into a different town, windows burning, streets lined with faceless watchers. One stepped forward, palm dripping a black hiss that ate holes in the street. Sam called my name. I turned and saw his smile carved too wide. I retreated to the altar. The journal burned my palm with a brand that pulsed like another heart. The book unfolded the town's secret, a vault under the nave, older than houses or maps. The shaft exhaled cold that smelled like iron and the end of prayers. Sam, I said. The shaft set it back in his voice. I descended on a rope of hope and bad knots. The walls felt like skin learning to be stone. The corridor below was low and wet, carved in prayers that break tongues if spoken aloud. A chamber shaped like an eye waited with a stone bowl etched with the map of McDougal. The journal guided me, a cut, a confession, a calling. Witness bleeds the truth, and the gate will open. I offered my blood. It crawled the carved streets like it knew the way home. Stone shifted like teeth. The ceiling unrolled like a lidless eye. The choir woke. Footsteps came, bare, dragging. Sam's shape entered the light and smoothed into porcelain. You found the door, it said without a mouth. Finish it, open for all, or remain and feed us slow. The last chapter held 2 words only. Last rites. 3 offerings, name, memory, noise. I gave my name, Damien Holt. The echo tasted like pennies. I gave my brightest memory, my mother's laugh in July heat. It curdled to sepia, then sank. Noise. The book wrote itself, silence is our feast, break it. I smashed my lantern. Fire ran veins under the stone prayers. The choir shrieked. A lock turned far below, a wheel older than the town grinding awake. Stairs unfolded into an abyss where the cold bit bone. The faceless couldn't follow. We are the door, not the hand that turns it, they sang. I counted steps I didn't mean to, 49, 50, 56. A cathedral of roots arched over a lake that mirrored nightmares. An altar of woven spines bore a hovering porcelain mask. The rites weren't banishment, they were coronation. I thought of Sam's laugh before the quiet. Crowning this thing might return him into a choir without mouths. New lines scribbled in the margin. Witness may invert the right, burn the crown, wear the silence. Inversion needed fuel, not oil, not blood, but names. Every face I could still remember. I whispered until my throat bled sand, then lit the journal with my last match. Cracks webbed across the porcelain. The lake rose without ripples. Stop, said Sam from everywhere. We are all that's left of them. Let them go, I said. Be what they were. We cannot. Memory makes us hungry. I seized a spine from the crown. It throbbed like a heart. Then starve. I struck once. Church bell underwater. Twice. Scream and skull. On the third blow, the mask split. Wind without light sucked the fire to a needlepoint hole. The faceless clutched where mouths should be. For the first time, silence hurt them. "Sam," I called. "If you're there, run." He didn't run. He bowed his head. I shoved the shards into the altar and pressed. The brand on my palm screamed. The lake finally rippled. The stairs curled shut like a jaw. I ran before the earth bit me. The faceless packed the vault mouth, frayed at the edges like old rope. "We can still finish," the chorus begged. "Witness, open." I inverted it, I croaked. The crown burns. The choir goes quiet. Above, the bell shattered before it fell. The sound didn't ring. It died. Streets flickered, crowded, empty, crowded, like a heartbeat choosing its rhythm. The faceless receded, pressed back by a tide we could not see. I climbed out into dawn. McDougal inhaled once, exhaled longer, then held. Back at the cabin, the scratches cooled into scars. I slept without dreams. Footsteps on the porch woke me, slow, familiar. "Sam?" I asked, knowing it couldn't be that easy. He stepped in with Sam's jacket and the old scar on his chin, and a mouth that belonged to him. "You made it quiet in the right way," he said, voice hoarse and new. "Are you you?" I asked. "Mostly," he smiled, "enough to be hungry for coffee and sun." We walked through town, no watchers in windows, no whispers in gutters, just wind gathering small sounds. "What now?" Sam asked at the intersection that used to be a sigil's heart. The journal was blank, but for one line, "Witness live." We repaired what we could and let the forest reclaim what it wanted back. Nights stayed long, but the dark no longer pressed a hand over my mouth. Sometimes the scar warms, and the air tastes like iron. I think it's the door checking my pulse. On the 100th morning, I tugged a bell rope that wasn't there and laughed when nothing answered. The laugh echoed larger than me, like the town trying a new voice. Strangers came, blinking, alive. We fed them without asking which silence they'd escaped. At night, we sit on the church steps. A scavenged radio coughs music into shape. Sometimes I hear my mother laugh in the static. Sam snores now, a small whistle on the inhale. I've learned to love that sound. I keep the blank journal under my pillow. It feels heavier than empty things should. If the rights return, we won't be witnesses. We'll be noise. My name is Damien Holt. I survived the vanishing. I inverted the last rites. I live here. If you pass through and the wind tastes like iron, keep walking. Don't knock on the church door. Don't speak your name into a drain. We learned what keeps a town, not bells or borders, but the noise we make together when silence tries to eat us. Somewhere beneath the grass, the crown of spines sleeps. The mask is dust in a stone stomach. The door knows my name. I know its hunger. Tonight the wind is clean. The stars are the old number. The scar on my palm is cool. Good night, McDougal. Keep your noise. Keep your life.